The mystic captures a timeless dimension where everything assimilates to a unified essence beyond the notion of time. These states are also marked by the conviction that the ego, the I, is not real. For example, in Hinduism, the I that we are normally conscious of is not real. It is subject to change and deterioration. There is another entity in man. The authentic being is the Atman, which is immortal, constant, unchanging, and is not subject to the dimensions of space and time. Once we have determined these characteristics, we can see that they appear repeatedly in Borges's poems and short stories. I believe that we could speak, in the case of Borges, of a mysticism of creation. If the path of the mystic implies an ascetic rigor to achieve the illumination that will culminate in fusion with God, we could say that in this process Borges was detained at illumination. Perhaps nothing awakens more compassion, in the etymological sense of the word, than that sensation of pathetic pride that belongs to agnosticism. He who believes in God affirms him and takes his experience for granted, and is also equally sure of his counterpart, the atheist. However, at every moment, the agnostic is attempting to understand the intangible in the only exclusively human way, through reason, which, paradoxically enough, limits him in that other dimension we have been trying to delve into. Perhaps nobody is closer to God than the agnostic. Borges's father began teaching him philosophy as a child, and even at a very early age, in infancy, he felt a metaphysical malaise. Alongside explanations of the intractable logic of Zenon of Ilia, Borges's English grandmother exposed him to the Bible. In this way, mixing reason with the book of books, he grew up under the sign of agnosticism, which he inherited in some way from his free-thinking father. In the epilogue of El Hacedor, The Maker, Borges writes, "A man sets out to draw the world. As the years go by, he peoples a space with images of provinces, kingdoms, mountains, bays, ships, fish, rooms, instruments, stars, horses, and individuals. A short time before he dies, he discovers that the patient labyrinth of lines traces the lineaments of his own face. He seems to glimpse this face again in Paradise, chapter 31, page 108, also in El Hacedor. Perhaps some feature of that crucified countenance lurks in every mirror. Perhaps the face died, was obliterated, so that God could be all of us." Borges, profoundly knowledgeable of Eastern religions, here recalls Farid al-Din Attar, a Persian Sufi who conceived the strange Sigmorg, 30 birds. Borges tells the story in El Simorg y el Águila, the Simorg and the Eagle, included in 9 ensayos dantescos, 9 Dantesque essays. Attar was an apothecary. One afternoon, a dervish entered Attar's store and told him that he must bid farewell to his possessions. Attar abandoned his store and went on a pilgrimage, finally reaching Mecca after having traveled through distant lands. When Attar returned, he dedicated himself to contemplation and writing poetry. Among the works that he left is Mantiq al-Ta'ir, the Coloquio de los Pájaros, the Conference of the Birds. Toward the end of his long life, he renounced all the earthly pleasures, including versification. The fable in Mantiq al-Fa'ir tells how Simorg, king of the birds, intentionally drops a feather in China. The birds, his subjects, decide to go in search of the feather. They know the name of their king means 30 birds, and they know that he lives in the circular mountain that surrounds the earth. After crossing over oceans and valleys, only 30 reach the mountain. When they get there, they realize that they are the Simorg, that the Simorg is each of them and all of them. The Simorg is inextricable. He embeds pantheism. Borges learned this story as a child, and later, in 9 ensayos dantescos, he compares Simorg with the eagle that Dante describes in